Good evening, everybody. My name is Mary O'Connor, and I'm with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. Thanks to Alaska Public Media for allowing us to bring you hangar flying. This evening, we are happy to have Allie Burand on our show. Allie is an aircraft dispatcher with an aviation company located in Anchorage. Allie, welcome to Hangar Flying.
Hi, thanks.
A lot of people don't realize how much work goes on behind the scenes to launch a commercial flight, and aircraft dispatchers are an integral part of the team. What types of things do dispatchers at your company do?
We do all the pre-flight planning and basically all the paperwork the pilots don't like to do. But it's a lot of, you look at all the charts and you plan all the routes. You look at the weather, you look at each airport, and you decide whether it's safe to launch or not. That's the main focus of our job, is safety of flight and operational control. We work jointly with the captains and look at each aspect of the flight before the crew even comes in, and then we discuss it with the captain before the flight, and then we agree together that the flight can go.
So they're not making a decision on their own, and you're not making a decision on your own, and if you have questions, you can talk back and forth?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, anytime there's a question at hand, if a dispatcher finds something that they think's a little out of the side of the normal and might be a possible safety risk, we'll bring it up to the crew and we'll discuss it. If the dispatcher doesn't think it's safe to launch, they won't launch, even if the captain thinks it's okay. If the captain doesn't want to go, the dispatcher can't make them go. So it's a joint decision between the two of us, and well, we make it work.
Well, that's a great safety feature.
Mm-hmm.
So you went to school to learn how to do this job. Can you tell us about that school and what you did?
Yeah, well, I didn't start out wanting to do aviation or dispatching. I didn't know what dispatching was when I started college. But I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, Arizona, and I got my degree in meteorology. And that kind of led me down the path. It's an aviation school, and they had an area of concentration for dispatch for aviation. And I started that program. So we started out doing private ground, instrument ground, aeronautics, aerodynamics, all the stuff that a pilot would do for a pilot degree. And it wraps into our meteorology degree as well, because pilots have to take meteorology, but not quite as much. And in the end, your senior year is just a dispatching course, and it's all about dispatching and basically what the ATP would be. And at the end, you get your dispatch license.
Okay, so you took an exam to get your certification,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the same test that the pilots take, right?
It is, yeah. I've heard recently that it may have changed a little bit, but when I took it, it was the exact same thing as the ATP written. And then you do a practical exam and oral, and it's a little bit different. It's focused on dispatch. You do a flight plan, and the FAA examiner tests you on dispatch knowledge.
That was a pretty tough exam, I'm assuming. The airline transport pilot test is tough.
Yeah, I think the hardest part of it is that if you're not a pilot, if you just come into it as a civilian and you've never flown an airplane, like, you have to know how to fly an airplane on paper. So you have to know how everything works and take the test on it, but you've never actually physically done it. So it's a lot of knowledge.
And I should think that'd be hard in its own right without having that background.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely helpful. Pilots getting a dispatch license is kind of an extra. It's easier for them than someone just walking off the street.
Oh, sure. And I imagine your meteorology background helped you, too, with dispatching.
It does quite a bit. Being able to read the weather charts and have a little bit of forecasting knowledge and really understanding how the systems work really helps you understand what is going on in the weather and the environment for the airplane to be in. So it makes for safer flights, I think.
So your company has operations in the lower 48 as well, but you do all the dispatching from Anchorage, correct?
We do, yeah. Our dispatch office is in Anchorage at the airport, and we dispatch flights out of Boston and Portland and Alaska and Anchorage.
Does that make it challenging? You have to know weather all over instead of just weather in Alaska, which is tough enough.
Yeah, and actually the meteorology degree really prepared you for lower 48 weather. They don't really talk about Alaska weather. So that was the hardest part, was relearning everything that suits Alaska. But we separate it. We do all of our Alaska flights, one dispatcher handles it, and then all of our East Coast flights, our lower 48 flights, one dispatcher handles those. So you kind of get to chunk the weather together and know what's going on in one area of the world.
And can you work just that one area so you get to know the geography and the weather patterns well?
Yeah, we just started Portland last September, and I'm already learning new things about how when the winds are coming from the west and they hit the Cascades and how it affects the weather on that west coast there and the fog on the coast.
Oh, sure.
Learning all about that. So it's new, like learning as we go.
Yeah, all kinds of different challenges. Well, this is really interesting, Allie. Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, thank you.
We look forward to having you back on our next show and learning more about your job as a dispatcher and then some career tips that you might have for people who might not have any idea what dispatching is about or what it is. So
yeah, it's kind of a secret job in aviation. A lot of people know about it.
Exactly, a hidden secret. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for supporting the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and Alaska Public Media. Until next time, fly safely